You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
The Oilers have dropped 3 in a row. They'll look to snap that skid tonight. Thankfully, the schedule gets easier, right?
Dallas, right?
Let's get into it with the lead. It is a Sherwood Ford giant game day here on Oilers Nation. Sherwood Ford Service Center, where they bring up service every day to their customers' home or office. Their valet service, it's got you covered, Jay. You've talked about it a ton. That's your testimonial.
Last week, picked up the Bronco, oil change like it never even happened.
Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day, Oilers and Stars. This is the lead, brought to you by Soho Yeg, where if you want to go watch a game, they have a giant 100-inch screen. Also, fantastic game day specials like half-price wings and $8 for a pint and a slice. That is a good deal, and we're going to be hitting up Soho soon, and I'm rather excited.
Well, it's our Nation Christmas party.
Nation Christmas. That's why you're dressed all festive.
It is festive. It is tis the sizz, right, as Lisa Evans says.
Tis the sizz. Yes,
yeah.
Sure. The Oilers looking to grab
a Lisa guy, clearly.
More of a Bob Stauffer guy. That's a joke I didn't mean to make. Either way, let's get into tonight's matchup before we get going. As always,
I get it. That's inside.
That's very inside. I've lost my train of thought completely. We're live on the Nation Network YouTube, where we have our like goal as always. And that's our chance to bring in our guy, Liam. Liam, what is our like goal today? Because
I don't agree with it.
That's fine.
Why?
But yesterday,
I'll let you go through it, and I'll say my spiel.
Yesterday was an absolute slog fest. We had to go like almost an hour to get our like goal.
It was a tough one. We definitely grinded that one out, and it was only 60.
But there's no pictures in the standings, and that's a dub for us. We kept the streak going. So what do you got tonight?
Today, 72.
Why?
For Gavrikov. That's his name, right?
Even though he's number 4?
Even though he's number 4, he has 72 career NHL points.
Okay.
And he will hit the 100-point mark with the Oilers, right?
I don't hate that.
I think our like goal should be Jacob Chikrin's career points.
So that's too many.
We should do amount of days Chikrin spent on the IR. Huh?
Lost games.
Man games lost for Jacob Chikrin specifically. Like I said, we're streaming live. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer that like button for us so we can get up to our like goal of 74? 72. Sorry. Maybe that's the number.
I thought you loved Gavrikov. If you're a big Gavrikov guy, you should be all over his stats.
You should know.
I'm not like...
Thank you, Liam.
Yes.
We're going to be joined by Frank Seravalli in a little bit.
Frank knows.
And maybe Frank will tell us how much we should love Vlad Gavrikov and maybe what the price is. And then from there, we'll decide whether or not Ken Holland should love Vlad Gavrikov. The Guitar Maniac is in on the YouTube chat. It says, comparing Gavrikov to Chikrin is like comparing David Kampf to Braden Point. So he's in your camp on this one.
Well, this person must know I love Braden Point. Former Moose Jaw Warrior.
He's your guy. That's your town. Twisted says, roll the dice on what Oiler team shows up tonight. Really hope this group can right the ship. Dallas will present a good challenge. And we're going to talk about trade targets and all that stuff with Frank. So let's zero in on the matchup tonight because it is a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day. This is a Dallas team that is really damn good. The D in Dallas stands for damn good. Stretch?
And
that's
maybe
a bit
for
of a stretch.
Defense, too.
Yeah, and honestly, like you look at that forward group and their high-end skill is great. And it's young and it's electric with Rupe Hintz, the ace of spades, Jason Robertson, basically one of the only guys in the NHL scoring at the same clip as Connor McDavid. Then you got good vets, Pavelski, Jamie Benn. They make them hard to play against. Between the pipes, they're set. Jake Ottinger is unbelievable. He's having a great year. Even if you get Scott Wedgwood tonight, he's above league average in pretty much every stat you can drum up. So both their goalies are good, and their blue line is effective because it's diverse. If you need Miro Heiskanen to kind of skate stride for stride with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they can do it. If you want to slog it out in the trenches, for lack of a better term, guys like Ryan Suter, Yanni Hakanpää, those guys can do that. They picked up Mason Marchment over the summer as well. This is a very good, very deep team. And if the same Oilers team that showed up against St. Louis and Nashville and Anaheim, if they show up tonight, this one's not even going to be close. And it wasn't close the last time the Oilers played the Stars.
Let's be honest. The Oilers are going to Oiler tonight. They've lost to the Ducks. I have well documented.
Yeah.
But they're just somehow going to stroll into the Big D and just whoop Dallas because that is like the ultimate Oiler thing to do.
It really is. Like you think back to that road trip they had at the beginning or middle of November when things weren't going well for them. And it was like, how do you lose to Washington? How do you lose to Carolina on the second of back-to-backs? Then it was like, oh, yeah, you beat Tampa Bay and beat Florida on the road. And it's a couple of impressive victories. So we'll see what this Oilers team throws forward tonight. But you're right. It could be a very classic Oilers game where
this is trademark Oilers. They're gonna win tonight just because they lost to the Ducks.
Yeah. And then we'll be sitting there going, wow, if you just didn't blow it against 3, I'll say crappy or inconsistent teams, you'd be sitting at a 4 or 5 game winning streak and life would be good.
This should be a scheduled loss.
It should be.
But now it's a scheduled win because of what we've done the last 3 games.
Wildly frustrating.
Yeah, it's a good time right now.
Rusty, the reckless optimist. I think the Oilers can and will win tonight. They got to start stringing wins together to keep up with LA and Seattle. They can do it. Reckless optimism forever. Dr. Gonzo, who I was talking with earlier today in the DFO live chat as well. What's up, all? Big game tonight. Breaking the skid. I can feel it. So the chat, at least a little bit optimistic. Someone else
should be. That's the thing. Like we just know as Oilers fans that we should feel really good about winning tonight's game against one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah. Haven't seen much in terms of lines or anything like that. What would you do tonight if you were in Jay Woodcroft's shoes? I think you're playing a good, deep Dallas team.
Yeah.
It's time to split up the big guns. I think you need to do that.
I know, but it's not going to happen.
Why not, though? What's the thinking behind keeping them together?
Yes, I like when they do play together when it's needed.
Yeah.
But we just keep, I don't know. It's just, they're going to go and do the same thing. Like they shouldn't. They should stretch it out. I think now we've got some guys, we're somewhat helped. We're just missing McLeod now.
Kane.
Well, Kane's been gone forever. So okay,
sorry.
Kane, yeah, we're not going to see Kane for a while. Hopefully not until the playoffs. Kucherov. Well, yes.
We're not doing that today.
Oh, I know. But
we've been at each other's throats all week, so we're not doing that.
But yeah, no, they should split it. I feel like we can accommodate the split, and it makes us more challenging against the Dallas Stars. I'm gonna say the Ducks. Jeez, I got the Ducks on the brain because we lost the Ducks. I don't know if you know we lost the Ducks last week. But the one thing we need to I think we actually have to break them up because of just what we're noticing, especially with Leon Draisaitl, is just the amount of giveaways.
Yeah.
Right. And why is it giveaways? Because he's going for the home run play, the finesse play, try to make all that stuff. And that's what you want to try to do when you've got Connor McDavid, and also vice versa when you have Connor McDavid with Leon Draisaitl. So maybe it might be healthy to split them up and maybe take that pressure and let them drive the play, carry the play, and then distribute once they get into a super safe area because they've done all the heavy lifting, being the amazing driving hockey players that they are. Studs of men.
Sergeant Battle says he doesn't believe Leon has the strength to run his own line right now. Ooh. He's hurt. I actually, watching the last game, I think he's sick. I think there's something going through the team. They talked on the broadcast about Woodcroft being sick, and the one thing that's really fallen off with
that would make sense. That's how you lose to the Ducks.
Yeah.
You're sick.
They still put up 49 shots. But the one thing I noticed
the Ducks, you can be sick and still put 49 shots.
Fair. Against the Ducks and against Nashville, Draisaitl was not good on his strong side on the draws. Usually when he's on his backhand in the offensive zone, to start a power play, they're always on that one side, right? And he doesn't miss. He's almost automatic there. And in the last couple of games, he's been brutal. And I wonder if that's he was sick, is sick, fighting something that's taken out his strength a little bit. And maybe that's why Woodcroft's keeping them together, because he's like, hey, I don't want this guy having to win draws every single time he's on the ice. I don't want this guy having to go the full length of the ice every time he's on the ice.
It's the issue with the Oilers and us as Oilers fans is Leon Draisaitl's entitled to a night off or two.
Well, that too.
He can't be 5 points a night every night.
Wow.
The shitty thing is we need that to win hockey games. We need Connor and we need Leon to just shatter the point box scores here and have us all win a bunch of money, because obviously we go Leon over 2.5 and Connor over 2.5 every night possible, but we can't rely on it. And so the minute he takes a night off, sure, if he's sick, if Leon Draisaitl is sick and we can't win hockey games, that's an issue. That's an issue.
Well, I mean, yeah, the depth of this team continues to be an issue. Although I will say I've been really impressed with the play of one Dylan Holloway the last couple of games. He's coming. And I'm torn on this, so I'd like your take on it. I want to see him. I want to see him get a look in the top 6 with a skilled player.
Yep.
But he's looked more and more comfortable over the last 3-4 games, and his line mates have been more or less consistent.
So that line's been good. You're right.
Okay,
that's fair.
So it's chicken. It's chicken egg. Is Holloway starting to get more and more comfortable simply because he's playing NHL games, and does he deserve a look higher up in the lineup? Or is he getting more and more comfortable because his line mates are the same, he's getting consistent minutes, and he's finding his groove on that third line? So do you reward him for strong play and put him on the second or first line? Or do you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, let's keep this third line together?
Well,
it's tough.
We're not winning hockey games at the moment.
No.
So mixing it up and trying a new experiment might be okay.
Yeah.
Because what can we lose?
You could lose a third line that's actually humming along at a decent clip.
You give it a period. You give it 4 shifts. If you're not feeling the buzz factor, then move it back. Because they are an electric line. Like, they are a great checking line. Fun to watch. High energy.
Yeah.
Dylan Holloway is also not afraid to throw a big check, and I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, they need more guys that are hard to play against. And I do think, like, Holloway is kind of difficult to play against. He gets in the mix. He's forechecks hard. Kyler Yamamoto the last couple of games, I think, has been very good at that as well. He's starting to come along. 2 goals in his last 6. Yarvi scored last game. Hopefully that's a building block for him. Not crossing my fingers on that by any means, but hopefully this is the sign. We've just said good things about Holloway, Puljujarvi, and Yamamoto. Hopefully this is a sign that maybe the depth pieces of this team are starting to come around a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's a nice little nod to my key to the game that we'll get to a little bit later on in the show as well. What day is Festivus technically? I always forget. Is it the 23rd or is it earlier than that?
23rd?
Like, on Seinfeld, what day is Festivus?
I believe it's December 23rd.
Is it?
Well, we have a studio audience. I don't know if that, and they definitely signaled that it's December 23rd.
Is it? It is? Okay, yeah, you would know. Yeah, we do have a studio audience in today. So that ties in nicely with our guest today. Let's get to Festivus with Frank Seravalli.
Merry Festivus, Frank.
2 days early. Merry Festivus, Frank.
Eve.
Yes, I forgot. I need to turn up the sound on my monitor to hear him. Mr. Seravalli, hello. Welcome back into Oilers Nation Everyday. Air your grievances for us.
I'm really disappointed you guys don't have an aluminum pole in your studio today for this Festivus celebration. I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it. So yeah, what a classic episode that is. And I actually, just before I came on, was on YouTube rewatching it, and it's so good.
It is fantastic. Got any hockey grievances you want to air? Anything that's just driving you nuts over the last year, I guess?
Yeah, how about the NHL's salary cap? And it's because of the pandemic. And look, our world changed in a lot of ways that we couldn't imagine. Being in an airport this weekend kind of reminded me of, how we're finally back to normal, but not from an NHL perspective in terms of the cap. And we're teetering on the edge of a 4th straight season of a flat or frozen salary cap. And it's made my job, because it's all about me, really difficult, because we're basically trolling for information that doesn't exist. We want teams to be talking trade, transactions, major blockbusters. And there's been so little of that in season that it's essentially forced everything into 2 periods. And I think the fact that we ended up with a few transactions that went down, although minor league transactions, before the NHL's holiday roster freeze is a reminder of yet another grievance, which is the fact that NHL GMs are so risk averse that they need a deadline to spur them into doing anything. If the holiday roster freeze and the March 3rd trade deadline did not exist, I don't know that we'd see anything happen over the course of a season. It seems like, in addition to the flat and frozen salary cap, that they're in a spot where many teams just aren't ready to pull the trigger. And so from my perspective as a hockey insider, it's really made life difficult.
Frank wants NHL GMs to grow some balls and start making big trades. That's what I pulled from that.
Huh? I agree. Who should have been making some trades leading up to the latest roster freeze?
I would actually point to both teams in Alberta. I think when you look at the Oilers and the way this season has gone, it feels like they need a little bit of a kick in the pants. And I know that it hurts not having Evander Kane. And I know that they've had to account for some of that space. But I think there's been enough people in the Oilers front office that have been antsy to this point to make something happen, to shake this team out of the doldrums of, win 2, lose 1, lose 2, win 3, whatever the streak ends up being of the week. It's it's a roller coaster. And I think people are hoping that they can find some more consistency. And I think the Calgary Flames down Highway 2 are another one that both those teams are facing immense pressure to not just get in the playoffs, but to make a deep run. And they're both teetering on the edge of missing. And both scenarios would be unacceptable.
Before we get into some trade targets and things like that, I want to circle back to the salary cap conversation, because last week on the show, we talked about how, you still kind of expect it to go up by that 3 to 4 million, not the 1 million like Bettman said. We've also heard some talk about a potential 84 game schedule coming to the NHL. And I threw this out on Twitter the other day, and I'm interested to hear your take on it. What if, to get an 84 game schedule, the NHL says, hey, PA, you agree to throw on 2 extra games, and we'll forgive that debt. Cap goes up, you get more money, we get 2 extra games of revenue, win-win.
Yeah, it's a nice thought, and I like where your head's at, but I would say that you're probably going to need more than that from the players' perspective in order to make something like that happen. The players have paid off the bulk of it, more than 96% of the $1.5 billion that they were essentially overpaid because of that 50-50 split. And now they want to play 2 more games for keeps. And really the only kind of thought process to this point that we've heard from the NHL perspective is, well, we'll shorten the preseason. You don't even play all of the preseason games anyway if you're a bona fide veteran. So it doesn't really help you at all. And even the ones that you're playing, you're not going full tilt. So to add 2 games to the schedule to really increase the juice in some of these rivalries, which is the thought process behind it, there's probably going to need to be a pretty significant bargaining chip from the NHL to the NHLPA. The problem is we don't know who's going to be running the PA because they're in the process of electing a new executive director, which they're hoping to have by the end of this regular season. And increasing the cap also helps the owners and these teams as well, because there's enough owners that are out there at this point that are disheartened by this frozen salary cap. They know they need to get the cap moving in the right direction for teams to actually make meaningful changes. So it's too much of a win-win in order for it to really be a bargaining chip, I think.
Interesting stuff.
Wasn't there a situation, and maybe the gap's too large to fill, where the PA steps in and fills the financial gap to like get it to that full repayment threshold to then unlock the salary cap increase? Was that something that you guys were not talking about a few months ago?
Yeah, so that usually the PA is part of the discussion in terms of the formula, but in this case, they have the money in their coffers to go write a check to get the cap to increase. They have an emergency fund that is sort of a lockout war chest that's I believe in the couple $100 million. So they could stroke a check, but it's really unlikely. And I don't know why it would make any sense to do so from their perspective, because before really even puck drop of opening night next season, there will be enough revenue to repay that debt without having to do anything different. So I don't see it being in their interest to step forward and do that. But like I said, the real heat and the interesting part is going to be on the NHL owner side, because there's enough people in that board of governors room that want to see the cap increase that I believe it's going to come to a head this summer.
Oilers Nation Everyday, streaming live on the Nation Network YouTube, where we are 30 likes away from our like goal today. So hammer that like button if you're watching. We're in conversation with NHL insider Frank Seravalli. Let's talk about the Oilers. Frank, Jay and I got into a big fight the other day, sitting in these same chairs actually, about the Oilers blue line. I think it can get better simply because Darnell Nurse won't play this bad all season. Evan Bouchard won't play this bad all season. I think there's room for them to improve internally, and I don't think they need to go jump the gun and get a D-man right this second. Jay is on the side of go get Jacob Strickern right now. You should have done it yesterday.
I'm on the side of we have to stop saying that the solution is that the D just need to play better.
But the D do. Okay, we're not doing it. Anyways, what is your?
That's not the solution. Like, sure, there needs to be some step up, but we need to make some roster moves to improve and bolster our defense.
So where I'm getting at here, Frank, is what do you think? Because the blue line has been a huge problem for the Oilers over the last couple of weeks here. Is the front office maybe, because I know we've talked a lot about they want forwards. They are looking to become harder to play against with their forward group, but these last couple of weeks, it should be showing them that the blue line is maybe a big hole. What's your take on all that?
So my take is that the Oilers front office, I believe, has placed a priority on forwards. And I think these last few weeks have given them some pause. But I think by the time we ultimately get closer to the March 3rd trade deadline, and you can say whatever you want about Ken Holland and the way that he's run this team to this point, but perhaps the patient approach that he's taken, not overreacting in terms of any one situation, especially this season, is maybe a benefit because you'll see that even out, I think, over the course of time. Tyler, to your point, I think, and to be fair, like this entire unit needs to be better. And I think there's been obviously some really underwhelming play of late with Nurse. Bouchard took a really long time to get going. And I think you'd still like to see more from especially some of the younger guys. Niemelainen with the size that he has, Broberg and his ability, however that might work out, to see more. I still think when push comes to shove at the deadline that they're going to attempt to fill multiple holes. And I think part of it, I view it as sort of a three-pronged deadline. And the order in which they're prioritized is going to be really interesting. But if I were to guess right now, the way I think they're looking at it is finding a top flight center that you can add to this mix as the number one need and priority. The second would be a true defensive defenseman, a strong defender. Think along the lines of a Chris Russell, an Adam Larson, that type of defender. Maybe not as big of a splash as someone like a Larson, but in that vein, sort of like a Gavrikov that we see in Columbus. And then I think the third option and priority, which they probably could have addressed by now, and if you want to argue about the complacency of the Oilers that they should have already done that, would be to find a piece for your bottom six that's difficult to play against, that adds a little juice, a different element, another dimension to your bottom six that you really need. And I think that's probably the easiest of the three transactions to make. And so that probably ends up being in the number 3 hole when you get to March 3rd. But do those other two flip between now and then?
Well, on speaking about the number 3 need, like what are the types of players that you're thinking or referring to, like specific names that we'd be looking at trying to get that meet that role?
So one guy that the Oilers talked a lot internally about, and I mentioned this on the show a couple weeks ago with Tyler, was Ryan Reeves. They had done a lot of homework and were actually, I think, pretty close to pulling the trigger. He went to Minnesota instead. That was the day before Thanksgiving in the U.S. They've been on a tear since then, and it seems like he's added a lot of energy. I know that they also did their homework and due diligence on Wayne Simmons when he was on waivers. But I think there's other players that are maybe less sort of big name, less headline, that have a different element to their game. Someone like a Zach McEwen in Philadelphia, or a good penalty killer in Chicago like a Sam Lafferty. Someone that just does something that you don't currently have in your bottom six, which seems to be a pretty homogenous group in terms of what they bring to the table.
I think that's a really good way to put it. I just want to circle back quickly to Gavrikov, actually. And there have been a lot of reports, and you've even said this before, like the Blue Jackets are looking for a first-round pick for this guy. And I look at the price the Oilers paid for a guy like Brett Kulak and the impact he had. And you gave up basically a second and like whatever, William Lagesson was a waiver guy at that point. I find it crazy that the Blue Jackets could potentially get a first-round pick for Vladislav Gavrikov. To me, that would signal that this is a seller's market if they're able to get that. Is that a fair read?
I would say part of it has to do, Tyler, with the stylistic fit of the player. The truth is there's not many of them to go around and have that sort of physical edge that Gavrikov has. It's interesting the way the market evolves, because a couple people had commented to me today watching Artem Zub sign his 4-year deal for $16.8 million. I made the joke. I was like, hey, that's good Branson money. And it sounds funny to say, but then the next part of the equation on Gavrikov is, well, the Blue Jackets are going to be asking for a first round pick because they got that for David Savard, and Gavrikov is better and younger than Savard. Savard went to Tampa and ended up winning a Stanley Cup, but he was basically playing third pair minutes when he got there. So there's so many parts to the equation, but my guess would be that there's enough teams in the market for that type of defenseman. Like Toronto is probably looking for the same exact style of defenseman that the Oilers are. That I don't want to say there's going to be a bidding war, but at some point, someone's going to have to give up a first. And I think this is a general commentary on my part about how the Oilers should view the trade deadline is trade everything you've got. Like, this is the year to go all in. You've got to really make hay. I don't care about your first round picks in 23, 24, 25. Other teams have done it. The Oilers have to get moving, and they really need to get in and do some damage.
Yeah, you're speaking Jay's language.
Amen, Frank. This is a happy Festivus for me.
If you like what Frank's saying, drop a like in the YouTube chat. That's how I'm going to spin that. But love it, Frank. What's the big Christmas tradition for you this week? What's the moment where you sit down, do something, and you're like, this is peak Christmas?
So one thing I actually do every Christmas Eve morning is I rent time at the rink. And I go and I coach my son in youth hockey, but I'll bring my cousins and some other family members, and we'll just kind of have a family skate. That's always fun. But I don't have any sort of big tradition. You know what I'm actually looking forward to? I did Barn Burner today, and tomorrow I'm going to join them for the Spirits of Christmas. And they're doing, I think, 9. Jay, I don't know if you're sanctioning this, but they're doing 9 different drinks over the course of the show. All different kinds of varieties.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to join them for a beverage tomorrow is what I'm saying.
Excellent.
You're renting ice at the rink so you can sharpen your skills for January and our tournament out with Tourism Jasper. Am I right, Frank?
See, here's the thing, though, and I mentioned this today. I said, which team am I going to be on? The Oilersnation team or the Flames Nation team? And they said, is this even a question? They said, do you want to be a winner or a loser? And I said,
oh, fuck. We will mop the floor. Whatever. Barn Burner, we're coming for you. Unless you're like bringing back, well, I was going to say the 1989 Calgary Flames, but we probably actually could dust those guys.
We probably could beat them too, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Shouldn't even be a question, Frank.
Yeah,
come on.
you guys
we
win
will
last
do a
year?
Flames Nation Oilers Nation game.
No. Might have had the
We didn't
tournament's
wear a
leading
shin
scorer.
pads. Long story. What's that?
So we might have had the tournament's leading scorer. No trophy, though.
Yeah, jeez, yeah.
You definitely have
All
the
right,
tournament's
Frank.
leading puker. Oh.
Our
You're done.
local
No.
sommelier, Tyler Yaremchuk.
Okay, we're done. Frank, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thanks for the insight. Thanks for all
Thanks,
of that.
guys.
Okay, let's get to the wrap today.
That was good.
Always good fun with Mr. Frank Seravalli. I like Gavrikov. I'm not giving up a first for Gavrikov. Tell
Hey,
you that
man.
right now.
The time is now. You heard it from Frank Seravalli himself.
Yeah.
He actually knows a thing or two. The fact that he agrees with this is very, very exciting for me. This is the time. So yeah, sometimes you got to overpay. They paid. Look what Tampa did for Dennis Savard.
David Savard.
Yeah, Dennis Savard. May as well should have been Denny Savard. What
The Oilers have
bottom 6. Where would Gavrikov slot in? Second pair.
second or third.
Probably
Wherever,
second
however
pair.
you want to jumble that.
Second
Sure.
pair.
Okay.
Probably second pair.
To me, though, like,
And then you still
Yeah,
save 2
you're right.
firsts to pull some other big moves.
okay, but
If
you
we're
also
moving our
have
next
to
3.
remember, and I get it, I am all for going all in this year, but if you trade your first next year and you trade your first the year after that, you're going to get to next year's deadline when you once again want to go all in, and you're going to be sitting there going, shit, we got nothing to move. So the first this year should be out the door. Ken Holland should tell his scouting department now, don't even bother looking at guys.
We just got to get good at drafting second and third round picks.
Yeah.
We got to get used to that.
Yeah.
Tampa seems to do a really good job.
They do. They get guys like Braden Point in the second round.
Man, how do we not? Why? He played in the Western Hockey League.
That and Parayko are always going to be the two I look at. And I'm like, how did you not see? Parayko was playing in the AJHL and is now like a monster top pairing, top 4 D man. And it's like, he was in your backyard and
I
he
know,
basically didn't get drafted. How did you
not? I couldn't believe it. I love Braden Point. The kid has got the heart of a lion.
Lots of stuff to get to in the chat here. Kyler just said, send it. Yeah. All right.
Agreed.
Smart Cowboy says depth forward. Quaddy says first might not be enough. Yeah. Smart Cowboy also says Taves. And I like Taves too. Like, again, defense is a
Taves, I
five-man
don't think
thing.
you need to give up a first. Well, I guess depending how much salary you have to eat, but
Taves is just, I don't think Taves takes a first, but it takes multiple assets because Chicago's got to keep half, send it somewhere, keep half, then it comes to Edmonton. So, like, but that's where I almost see the Puljujarvi thing potentially working out, is if his value goes up a little bit, maybe when you go to a team like Arizona and you're like, hey, we need you to brokerage this deal we're making for Jonathan Taves, we'll give you a free look at Jesse Puljujarvi for the last couple months of the season if you keep $2 million of this Taves salary. Maybe that's how you make Puljujarvi work. Or, again, Puljujarvi, if you can get a second or a third rounder for him at some point, which right now the idea would be that you can't get that, that's how you kind of get more bullets in the chamber to make other moves at the deadline. That's kind of how I view Puljujarvi playing out. But anyways, let's get back into the Sherwood Ford Giant game day side of things. First, though, we are streaming live from the Sports Closet studio. Look at that beauty hanging up on the wall. You can get one for the Oilers fan in your life by heading to sportscloset.ca. 3 locations in Edmonton as well, Edmonton area. Kingsway Mall, Sherwood Park Mall, St. Albert Mall. Stuff for every sports fan. Keys to victory tonight as the Oilers take on the Dallas Stars. I'll say an obvious one. You got to shut down their stars. Don't let Jason Robertson burn you. And a big part of that is going to be staying out of the box. Because if you give Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz a ton of time on the power play, we all know as hockey fans what Joe Pavelski can do in front of the net on a power play.
Everything in sight.
Yeah, this Dallas team is very good and skilled, and don't give them free chances is what I'm saying. Stay out of the box. Your penalty kill sucks. The best way to avoid getting scored on with your penalty kill is to just not take penalties. So stay out of the box is my first giant key to the game. What do you got?
Well, Tyler, I don't know if you know this, but we need the D to play better. So we need to really.
Oh, but they can't play better.
Well, it's 32 games suggest they can't. But like we need to just shut down these guys. Like once again, I keep saying got to play like we did in Tampa. Well, we got to play like we did in Tampa. We got to shut down this juggernaut of a team.
But there was also a point in that Tampa game where they were being outshot 10-0. So like you almost need to be better than that against Dallas. I don't know.
We got to just smother and not let them give a chance to breathe. Like one thing Nashville did with Leon is they smothered him pretty good. They didn't give him a lot of time and space, and they were pissing him off. And that also kind of led to his low production, even though I bet heavily on him being the mayor that night. But that's okay. But we just got like we gotta get shots on Ottinger because his save percentage is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly we need to get a high volume of shots on that to turn those into goals. And we have to keep these crazy forwards. I was trying to come up with some stupid analogy, but
okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyways, they got a lot of good players. We got to keep them all. Just got to keep them chilled.
Jake Ottinger in his last 5 games, 903, 923, 920, 978, 964. That's good.
We need a 902 night.
We need a big
902 night, and we got to get 40 shots on it.
Yeah. Liam, you're sitting across the room from me in your nice Hope Will Never Die hoodie. We're matching today. What's your key to victory?
I'm trying to think about this. My key to victory: don't make stupid turnovers that lead to goals.
No grade A mistakes.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see kind of Vladislav McDavid kind of getting a bit of a rhythm tonight. I know that seems obvious, but last game they really weren't.
We don't have
great.
a choice. If we want to win games, they have to.
But last game, it felt like they were kind of pinned a little bit in their own zone. Like I think, what was it? McDavid had 2 shots or something like that in the game. Like I think if the Oilers got to win, it's got to be on those 2 tonight. It's kind of got to be on those 2 until
Nashville made some really good adjustments again.
They did.
Just like in the St. Louis game, like we were on the power play to close out the game there.
I remember.
And St. Louis did not give us a chance to breathe. They just smothered us on on their PK, and I'm just like, this is not good. But like, it's amazing how like teams can just make that choice and make that correction, and then just all of a sudden like really make a smothering impact like they did, just like Nashville did. Even though we had to rely on depth scoring that game, which is kind of weird, but it kind of happened too, which I guess is a positive. Yeah, no, we're in one tonight, but it's the most Oilers thing to do. You know what? You know what my key to the game is? Just be the Oilers. Because the Oilers are going to Oiler, and they're going to win this game because why not?
Yeah.
They're just going to surprise us. And we're like, oh my God, well, our D is playing better now all of a sudden. Depth scoring, like all the things that are driving us crazy are going to show up tonight. And we're like, we're all solved. And then we're going to play the other Ducks team and probably lose to them again.
Are the dads still on the trip? Or was it just a one night?
I doubt they would fly him back home.
I
They don't.
think
They would be 2 nights.
I thought they did too.
It's not the dads; it's the mentors.
Oh, is that what it is?
Because
I saw
Nuge brought his
brother.
brother,
Yeah.
and one of the players I think brought their daughter or something like that as well.
Yeah, I saw you,
Yeah.
which is good. It's a
That's
family
nice.
trip.
It's a family
whatever,
trip.
yeah.
Those hats were cool.
Those were awesome. The high five,
You did them.
that was special.
That is like,
Was it?
what is that? That's like poetry in motion or whatever. Like it's just an analogy of the Pooley RV McDavid connection.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
Like how
funny.
they can't even play on a line together. The dads can't even line up for a high five. You know what the key to a high five is? Look at the person's elbow, and you're going to hit 100 times out of 100.
All right.
Or just grab. If you're unsure, just like grab the hand.
But like even like how that the grab wasn't
Didn't
even
work.
going to save them.
Yeah, maybe
Like they
that
were.
was a big.
That
miss.
was because he was going to go left hand, which was already weird. This is Pooley Harvey's dad, and then he went immediately back over to the right, which
Because
is
your
what he should've
connection's
done.
not as good with your left,
But
right?
you always go right on right.
Well, let's
Or
see
sorry,
it.
not
Let's see
always,
it.
but if the receiver is put up the right hand, you have to deliver the right hand.
Let's see it. Let's see a little tutorial.
Look at the elbow.
Boom. See,
Boom.
and then look how messy it is if I'm trying with my left. Like, can't.
Yeah, see? I
Doesn't
intentionally
fly.
did that.
Back in the YouTube chat where we are 2 likes away from our like goal. So hammer that like button if you're watching on the Nation Network YouTube.
We're not leaving.
Also, for whatever reason, if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button too.
What are
Let's
you
see that
doing?
number go up.
Why are you
Yeah,
even here? Just kidding. I love you.
Tyler Mulick says, after whistle activity, get in their kitchen. Kyler says, get some eyes in front of Ottinger Hyman. Looking at you, buddy. Steve's key to the game is to clone McDavid. Sure. A couple of people, including Mark and Stealth, saying split up McDavid and Draisaitl.
You know what I'm doing tonight?
What are you doing?
It's the Nation Christmas party.
Yeah.
I am going to be coming out at a very voracious, whatever, potato, BPP.
Yeah,
I'm going to be doing my part tonight. It's been a while since, well, actually, it was in Nashville where I was going pretty aggressive.
It's been 8 days since you went aggressive.
It's been 8 days, but we lost to the Ducks when I didn't.
There you go.
Gave it away to the Blues when I didn't. So that's my key.
Your key to victory is a nice high BPP.
high BPP.
And a big old pizza from Soho.
Giant, delicious pizza from Soho and a bunch. I'm going to crush a bunch of their delicious beers on top.
Fantastic stuff.
Maybe mix in a vodka soda.
Someone asked who we're expecting, or do we know who the starter is? Not confirmed. Expecting Stuart Skinner, though.
And it has to be.
We had another question that said, any insight or any ideas on Skinner's save percentage being below 900 over his last 10 starts? And I looked at it. a little bit here. There are a couple bad games in there. You know, the game on the 21st of November against New Jersey wasn't that good. He had a game against Chicago where his stats weren't great, but he made some big saves late. Gave up 4 to the Hawks, so that's fine. The other games in that stretch that are below 900 was the Arizona game where he only faced 18 shots. I'm not going to get mad at a goalie for giving up 2 goals on 18 shots in a blowout. That's whatever to me. And then
he was getting stiff because there was not much action.
And then against the Ducks, 4 goals on 17 shots. It's a 765 save percentage. Bag Milk was saying the other day, like, oh, if that was Campbell, we'd be roasting him. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, again,
no, we would have. We would have. We totally won. You do not lie on Festivus. That is the number 1 rule of Festivus, and you just lied.
No, because
you would not shit on Campbell with the start he has if he went 765 against the Ducks.
No, because I'd look at the context of those goals.
No. We got the bias. We got the bias.
Right,
it's just like with everyone in the world, anytime Tom Wilson hits a man, it's like breaking news, have to talk about it. But if Ryan Reeds actually kills someone on the ice, we just say that was a good hit and turn a blind eye and don't even say a word.
We hit our like goal. Thank you, everybody watching on the Nation Network YouTube. Someone also made the joke when we brought on Frank that all the proceeds from today's show are going to the Human Fund. I thought that was a good joke. It's good. Good little Seinfeld humor.
People keep asking about Damon Severson.
Okay, so
has he like just become available all of a sudden? Aren't New Jersey really good?
Yes. So he came up on, I think it was a Friedman blog where he was brought up, and basically Severson is a pending UFA contract year. You want to make money, right? And they kind of have him buried on the third pairing because he's behind Marino and Hamilton. And there was just some talk that maybe there's a hockey deal to be made where you make a swap, and Severson gets to go somewhere where he plays more.
So he's almost like Barry. He's almost like our Barry in a way, where he plays so down the lineup and we pay him however much.
But he's an interesting guy, because if you were to ask people the analytics folk who follow the Devils, they love him. I think he's great. You ask the eye test people who follow the Devils, and it's hot garbage. Turns over pucks poorly, like isn't good. So
trade him for Pugliarvi. It's perfect. What's the salary cap? Please tell me he makes $3 million.
4.5.
Shit. Can they retain 1.5?
No, maybe. I don't. He's an interesting idea, but again, I don't know if he's.
I don't know if he helps us.
And yeah, he's a righty, so I don't know. If
well,
it's
we
enough
could.
To,
So yeah, he is just Tyson Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're swapping Tyson Barry for David Severson, because I
No,
don't
that
think that's
doesn't
enough
make
of
any
an
sense.
upgrade.
Tyson Barry doesn't really turn over pucks that much either.
Like
No.
if it's a
Quite good.
Samarkov Costin trade, like just
Yeah.
kind of getting
Mm-hmm.
say 2 headaches off, but just 2 things that aren't going to work in each other's systems and swapsies,
We kept our streak going of hitting 100 concurrent viewers on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going well.
We're rolling. We're
Yeah,
on. I wish the Oilers were on a hot streak like we are, and the YouTube chat is.
Maybe that's the issue.
delivering.
Maybe we've got to get cold so the others can go hot.
Everybody stop watching. Close the window. We're done. We're going to do the rest of the show to no one. Let's get to our bets for today, brought to you by our friends over at Betway. Liam?
I'm going with your favorite Oilers bet.
It's a Hyman day. It's always a
Zach
Hyman day.
Hyman shot prop over 3.5 minus 120.
Crushes it.
He literally hits it every single game. So that's great. And I'm going to manifest an Oilers victory by picking him on the money line at plus 120.
Before the
That's
show,
wild.
Happen.
Juicy.
Yeah, you got to chase it.
before the show, Jay, you were digging around on the pre-built bets on
Yeah.
Betway, and you said you had it. You had the one bet to go all in on the night.
I got 2. I'm
Okay, you
doing
got
one.
2, you
So
got 2.
I'm my biggest bet is going to be Oilers on the money line.
Sure, why not?
I'm also going Oilers to 1 on the money line, and Jason Robertson and Connor McDavid to both get a point. That's plus 350. And
Okay.
then if you really want to chase the juice, I think it's plus 700. I'm also going to do it. It is Oilers money line, Robertson and McDavid to both score.
Okay.
It's head to head, like best on best, like Robertson.
Nationally televised hockey game in the States.
Nationally televised on TNT. Like Robertson wants to match himself up against McDavid. McDavid doesn't want to let this kid try to steal his thunder. So like this is like Mbappe versus Messi.
Good reference.
Thank you.
You know me. I'm not always one to chase the juice, but Oilers to go 32 plus shots on goal as a team. Dallas allowed that in 3 of their last 4. So maybe Edmonton's in the mood to fire some rubber on net.
Well, they better be.
Yeah, because Jake
Jeez.
Ottinger is really damn good. So
Unless
maybe
he's
that.
902 Jake. I hope you hit 902 Jake. 902.
Also, because Bagged Milk will love me bringing this up, over 1.5 power play goals hits in more or less every single Oilers game. Why not take it tonight at minus 125?
Well, and go Nuge goal if you really love Bag Milk.
Yeah, go Nuge goal. 2 last
Kid
games.
is
He's been
hot. The Nuge is hot.
It's actually crazy. This was a mailbag question on the site the other day, but like looking at the UFA deals Ken Holland's done for the forwards, that Hyman deal looks fantastic.
Mhm.
The Kane deal looks fantastic. And now you have Nuge scoring at like a 40 goal pace this season. And it's like, they got that guy locked up for just a hair over $5 million too. And for basically spending, what is that, 16.2 Yaremchuk math $1 million on 3 complementary forwards, to get 3 that are that good, that's really
And they're
nice
like
work from
60,
Holland.
80 point guys.
They all are, yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's good. So now let's keep it rolling, Ken.
yeah.
And let's make some trades, bro.
You even put a Skinner deal in there. Like you just locked up that Skinner deal yesterday too.
What about
right?
the Jack Campbell deal? How you want to write that?
Don't wanna
Hey,
talk about
no. 2 goalies, 7.6 million combined. Good for
That
me.
is
Flawed logic.
sure. You can look at it that way, but we could have avoided that and had more money to spend.
Yeah.
Or once
Hey,
again,
it's too
I
early.
still Jack.
I think Campbell's
I
better.
keep saying I still think Jack can be better. He hasn't really shown me anything yet, but
I think
I
he's been
still
better
believe.
his last 2 games. But he also played the same team. So maybe that's just his team to play against.
List of players Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has more goals than this year. Includes Braden Point, Chris Kreider, Steven Stamkos, Kyle Connor, Jake Gensel, Matthew Tkachuk. It's an impressive group that he's outscoring right now.
you're just hot, man.
He is hot.
He can shoot the biscuit. I love. Well
Yeah.
documented. I love the Nuge.
And 11 of his 17 goals coming at even strength as well. So
5-on-5 Nuge.
been a good year for one Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Let's see if he can keep it rolling tonight. Rusty says, I'm with Tyler. Goalie tandem for 7.6 milli is awesome. No.
We had a goalie tandem for $6.5 million, and we were complaining all the time.
Yeah, but that's because the backup made two. Oh, damn it.
Shoot.
Son of a gun. There goes my argument. All right, that's going to be a wrap on today's edition of the show. Shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Their free valet service, pickup, drop-off for all makes and models. It is fantastic. One of the many perks. So check them out on Twitter, on Instagram, Sherwood Ford, the Giant. Our friends at the Sports Closet, Soho. We will see you soon as well. And Betway. Let's wrap it up. Score prediction. I'll say 3-2 Oilers.
I'm going 3-1, and this might be a good night to go power play and empty netter.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 5-3 Oilers. Power play internet. May as well. It's Christmas.
All right.
Okay. Yes, Festivus.
Sure. Thanks to everyone who played along in the YouTube chat today. Helped us hit our like goal as well. That is going to be a wrap on today's edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. We'll be back same time tomorrow, noon Mountain Time, and I'll probably be hungover. So will Liam. So will Jay. Talk to you then.